Hi, now that you're aware of concept of inheritance in object-oriented programming for Python, let's move on to learn about polymorphism and abstraction. I understand you must be scratching your heads over what could polymorphism and abstraction possibly mean. And by the end of this section, you will have found your answer. We will have a quick overview of polymorphism and then we will understand the function and importance of method overloading, followed by an understanding of method overriding. We will eventually end this section with learning how to undergo abstraction and operator overloading in Python. Let's concentrate on the theme of this section's first video lesson now. The first objective of this video is to get acquainted with polymorphism and then using that knowledge to understand method overloading and method overriding. Hi guys. Now that you are aware of concept of inheritance in object-oriented programming for Python, let's move on to learn about polymorphism and abstraction. I understand you must be scratching your head over what could polymorphism and abstraction possibly mean. And by the end of this section, you will have found your answer. We'll have a quick overview of polymorphism and then we will understand the function and importance of method overloading, followed by an understanding of method overriding. We'll eventually end this section and learn how to undergo abstraction along with operator overloading in Python. Let's concentrate on the theme of this section's first video now. The first objective of this video is to get acquainted with polymorphism and then using that knowledge to understand method overloading and method overriding. Just consider this simple example. There is a certain words which have two different meanings. It is crucial to know both so that you know how to use the word in different contexts. And this is precisely the premise of polymorphism. The use of a single set of data with different types so that its function changes in different situations. If you are confused about the above definition, don't worry. You will get a hang of polymorphism once we learn about method overloading. So, method overloading, what is it? In a nutshell, when we define methods or functions of the same name, but with different data types and methods parameters, it is known as method overloading. The method or function may be of same name, but they perform different functions according to the context in which it is called. You can look at the diagram and understand how a method can have different parameters to have different results. You will have a clearer understanding once we take a sample program. Over here, we have already written a short program in Notepad++. It has single class with the name man. I have defined a say hi method which is declared with self and the name is declared with none. I put a if else statement controlling name. If it's none, it will print hi plus an additional name that we can push it through parenthesis, which will check it at the end. Else, if there is no parenthesis which is push, it will only print a name comment that is hi. To run and print the comments on the screen, I have declared an object and assigned the class man to that object. Then calling that attribute of the class through that object, we have declared an object and say hi, which is being called. Let's run this program in the command line and check the output quickly. Now that you are already aware how do we run a program in command line, I won't be going through it all. Now that you can see, we are just getting an output as hi. Okay, let's make a quick change into the same program by adding another line, calling that object attribute say hi and pushing a parenthesis, let's say James. We'll call a comment named James. Save this program and rerun this program in the command line. Now that you can see, you are getting the previous result along with an altered result that is hi James. Because you are calling the same attribute with a different parenthesis which has been pushed into it, it can get altered by method overriding. Let's extend this topic a bit further with method overriding. Consider a function or method of a particular name. that is defined in main or parent class. Now, we can define the same function or method again in a child class to perform different operations. Hence, we can use the same method or function to perform different operation depending on whether it is called from the parent class object or child class object. You can understand this simple method overriding technique by looking at the diagram that I have put it on the screen. So we have superclass A and subclass B, which is under the superclass. Method A is being declared in superclass. The same method A can be recalled by subclass B. The name will be the same, but you can alter the working of the method A. Again, we can make it easy to understand through a simple program. I've already written a short program to calculate an area of a triangle and area of a square. In first class triangle, we have been declared an init method in which we have been pushing the parentheses of declaring self, base and height, which we are being utilizing under it. So self dot base, which is being assigned as base. So if you know a simple formula to calculate triangle, it's always base into height divided by 2. So what we are doing over here, we are assigning self base to base and self height to height. And then we'll be utilizing that to get area of a triangle. So in the next method, we have defined get area, which is self declared. And in that we have been printing the calculation. That is self base into self height divided by 2. Moving on to the class 2, that is class square. We are utilizing the parent class, that is triangle, as a reference material. So when we are defining def init, it will be self-declared with side. And moving on to the same kind of declaration, self side will be assigned to side. Then reference to triangle, which is given to initialize self with two sides as we are calculating the area of square. Then to get an area of square, we are formulating it with self side into self side. That is, square has two sides. So one attribute of side with any value can automatically calculate an area of a square. Then we are assigning an object T and S. Assigning object T with triangle and directly pushing parenthesis value of base as 2 and height as 6. Similarly with S object, we are assigning square and pushing the parenthesis as 4. The most interesting part is below that. So when you are calling that object through attribute of that class, that is get area, both the names for both the classes is the same, that is get area. But as you see, if we run this program in the command line, you will get an altered output as required under each classes. Let's move to the command line and run this program quickly. Now that you can see, we are getting an output of 6 is the area of a triangle and 16 is the area of a square. That's a lot of information to observe. That's a lot of information to absorb for now. Let's take a quick recap. We started by defining what polymorphism is, and we followed by introducing method overloading that helped us further in understanding polymorphism. Finally, we ended this video with another aspect of polymorphism, that is method overriding.